How's everyone doing tonight? Got a lot of Golden Buffaloes out here this evening. I hope you know we are in the presence, those of us who are not Hall of Famers, we are in the presence of greatness here tonight. Did you know that? Oh yeah, give them a round of applause. We have got a number of bona fide inducted Hall of Famers here tonight, and we've got 9 folks here tonight who will be crowned and inducted Hall of Famers. So let me be the first to welcome you to the 2014 University of Colorado Athletics Hall of Fame induction ceremony. A great class here tonight, guys. I'm telling you, there's a fantastic group of people, some amazing Buffaloes that will be inducting into the Hall of Fame here this evening. Want to make a quick mention of a couple of folks who are in attendance here tonight. Hall of Famers in their own right. Let's give a collective round of applause to Regent Steve Bosley and Glenn Gallegos as well. And would you do me a favor? We don't have an opportunity or time to announce all of you, but if we have previous Hall of Famers here tonight, would you just stand up and just be acknowledged? So if you've been inducted before, just go ahead and stand on up. Don't be shy. There they are. Now, I say with a heavy heart here tonight, if you're not acquainted with me, my name is Mark Johnson. I'm the sports director at 850 KOA Radio, and I refer to myself all the time as the play-by-play announcer for the Colorado Buffaloes. And the reason I've done that for almost 11 years is because I'm not the voice of the Buffs. The voice of the Buffs is Larry Zimmer and has been since 1971. He was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2012, 2 years ago. And most of you, of course, are very familiar with Zim, who has been with us since 1971. He came here to join the broadcast team and to be part of the 850 KOA Sports Department. Now, for those of you who don't know, he's not been with us on the broadcast for the last, I guess, 3 games, because the last 4 weeks he's been in the hospital. And so I just want to make note of Larry. I'm pretty much with him every other day. He continues to kind of struggle with the health issues he's got. He's been in ICU ostensibly for the last 4 weeks. And Bridget is staying strong, and they've gotten many notes and well wishes and thoughts from all of you and Buff Nation at this point in time. And I've had probably no fewer than 15 or 20 people come up and ask me about him here tonight. So I just wanted to make known that Zim sends his best. I was with him yesterday morning for a couple of hours. He wishes he could be with us right now, and I will take a lot of positive energy and well wishes and the prayers that you folks have passed along tonight, and give them to Larry when I'm with him tomorrow morning. So how about a round of applause for my partner, Larry Zimmer. At this point of our program, again, we're going to meet our Hall of Famers here in a couple of minutes. Let's bring up Tate Nelson from the C Club, and he's got a couple of comments for us here, and he can officially get our program started. Tate, come on up.
Let's go, a little more enthusiasm. Thank you. Yeah, I really have nothing important to say here. I'm just here to warm up the crowd so that when these inductees come up here, they receive a very warm welcome. So that was a good rehearsal. Thank you for that. I represent the Alumni C Club, and for those of you who don't know, that is our letter winners organization. We have 2 primary objectives in the C Club. The first is to keep our former student athletes connected to each other and to the university. And the second is to protect, preserve, and honor our rich athletic tradition. Tonight, we're here to focus on that second piece, and we're going to be inducting 9 of the best and the brightest of our former student athletes here. It's always special to make one of these presentations and be in the presence of such greatness. So many people who have given so much for this university and represented themselves, their programs, this university, and their families so well. Tonight is extra special because another one of my teammates is going in. And quite frankly, at this point, we should just put the whole team in. I mean, from a budget standpoint, it'd work out so much better that way. But anyway, I know that some of you actually came here to hear from these inductees and not me, so I'm going to keep this relatively short tonight. First, I would like to recognize the members of the Hall of Fame Selection Committee. So you inductees, you would not be here tonight except for the extraordinary work for all these people that volunteered to pour through a list of over 60 original candidates, pared it down to 29 finalists, and then pared it down further to get to the 9 people in the room here tonight. So in alphabetic order, please salute and thank all these people: Rick George, Gary Gissel, Bill Harris, Lindsay Liu, Dave Platty, Ron Scott, and Dan Weinberger. Now, I would also like to recognize all the Alumni C Club board members in attendance here tonight. Our Alumni C Club board members are all volunteers, and they contribute their time to help forward the mission of the Alumni C Club. So hold your applause till the end, but I'd like each of you to please stand and raise your hands, starting with Bryant Amador, Frank Bernardi, who is also one of our Hall of Famers, Hal Donley, Gary Gissel, another Hall of Famer, Bill Harris, Mike Layden, Lisa Van Gore, another Hall of Famer. So you're noticing here, if you want to get into the Hall of Fame, volunteering for the C Club board is a great avenue to accomplish that. And last but not least, I would like to thank our outgoing president, Dan Weinberger. After 2.5 years, Dan is stepping down from the board because he has 2 very small children at home. So I want to thank Dan for all of his commitment the last couple years, and we'll definitely miss you, and thanks for all that you've done. And without further ado, I'm going to turn it back over to Mark Johnson, and we'll get the inductees up here. Thank you.
Did I mention that Tate is a Hall of Famer in his own mind? Did we mention that yet? Always a good cheerleader. I got to bring up Rick George. Rick has been such a phenomenal asset since he's come on in his new role as athletic director. Of course, we know of his previous incarnation here at CU when he was working on Coach Mack's staff. He's a bit of a troublemaker, I've noticed. We had him on the pregame show on Saturday. And right before we're wrapping up, Chad Brown and I are on the air with him, and he says, hey, next week, let's start a debate on which was the better team, 90 or 94. And the ugliness has ensued ever since he brought up that topic, because I've been hearing from guys the last couple of days. Rashawn had some strong comments, by the way, for you last night when I was with him. But let's bring up the athletic director whose energy has been infectious. You see what he's doing out around his stadium out here. It's been phenomenal, the movement so far with this athletic department and all that's going on in and around. Let's bring up Rick George.
I have to bring these down, but I do want to send my well wishes to Larry Zimmer. What a great man, and how he's represented this university, and the things that he's done in his work with KOA and being the voice of the Buffs, because, yeah, Mark's playing real second fiddle to that one. So our thoughts go out to Larry and Bridget, and, we hope he gets a speedy recovery, because we'd love him to be back next year so we don't have to deal with Mark and Chad Brown every week. But anyway, I want to say congratulations to the inductees. It's a special night, and we're going to do this every year. We're not going to wait every 2 years to honor the people that should be in our Hall of Fame. So we're going to do this every year. And for those of you that are being inducted tonight, congratulations, and welcome to all of you that are here tonight. It is going to be a special night. It's going to be a lot of fun. For me already, I mean, I've seen some faces that I haven't seen for a while, and it's great to reconnect. And every time I go anywhere, I see JoJo Christensen, who's there in the back, who worked for Bill Marold, who was here. JoJo's in the green back there. Hi, JoJo. Once a Buff, always a Buff, and it doesn't matter if you played here, you supported it, or you've worked here. Once you're a Buff, you're always a Buff, and it's great to see so many of you in the audience tonight and here to celebrate with all of our inductees tonight. So it's really going to be fun. I want to just be really brief, because I know some of you have heard me way too much. But for those of you inductees that haven't been back, Dion, you're only a couple miles away, so where are you? I hope to see you back a little more often than I've seen you. But Dion was one of the best players I ever recruited. He was special. I mean, he could cover, and he was physical, and he was one of those DBs that you really wanted to have, and he's had a great career, and it's great to see him. I haven't seen him for 20-some years. Since I was back here, so to be able to reconnect with him has been great. But just to quickly tell you what we're doing, because I think it's important for some of you that don't get back here and don't hear it all the time. The first thing that I will tell you is we've got some of the greatest young men and women anywhere in the country competing and studying and doing their academic work here at the University of Colorado. They're doing a tremendous job. They're great representatives of this institution and your legacies that you've left here. Claire Wise and a couple of our ski teams here tonight to celebrate. Bob Beatty being inducted. Richard is here as well. but it's great, the representation of our student athletes. There's none finer. It's been the single most fun thing that I've had since I've been here is being able to interact with these student athletes and how they represent us. And just to tell you how they've represented us, we've had our best fall GPA in our history. We've had a graduation rate of 83. We've had an academic performance rating, which measures our retention and graduation, at 983. And they were awarded the Pac-12 Humanitarian Award for what they do outside of the classroom and outside of the playing surface. So they're great representatives of this institution and what we're trying to do. So I applaud our student athletes that are here tonight, but they're a great representation of the legacy that you've all left. Couple things that we're doing. We're really focused on our strategic plan and where we're going and how we're going to do it. And just so you all know, because I think it's important that you know, is that we have 3 priorities in our vision statement and our mission statement. It's real simple. We want to be a nationally recognized athletic department by doing 3 things. We want to make sure that we create a world-class holistic experience for our student athletes, first and foremost. That's our focus. That's what we want to do. That's why we come to work every day. Secondly, we want to operate in a fiscally responsible manner. And 3, we want to compete for and win championships. Those of you in the room, you're champions, and this is what we're all about. At CU, we shouldn't do anything other than aspire to be first in everything that we do. And that's important to us. That's a culture that we're creating in our athletic department. It's not good enough to get close. It's not good enough to compete at a level. We got to win. We got to win championships, and that's what we're all about. And I think that's what we should do at CU. I'm very proud of what our coaches and our staff have done. They've worked hard and tirelessly to get our programs where we need to be, and I can tell you that we're all tugging the rope in the same direction. We all know what our objectives are. We all know where we're going. We all know where our focus is, and everybody's on board, and I think it's great to see a group of people come together looking for one goal and one objective. The last thing I will tell you, we're building facilities, and it's not just for our football program. It's for all of our student athletes, and it's really going to transform who we are. It's going to allow us to achieve our vision and our mission and where we're going. It's very important that you understand that these facilities are what are going to allow us to compete for and win championships, to be fiscally responsible, and for us to win championships long term, and to provide the experience that we need to provide for our student athletes. And so these facilities are important. It's going to triple our academic space. It's going to double our strength and conditioning space, double our health and wellness space that we have, and it's for our student athletes. It's not a want, it's a need. We need to provide these facilities for our student athletes so they have success and for the future generations. And I think when you go over, if you haven't been over to Folsom Field, I think when you see what we're doing in the Northeast End Zone, you'll be very proud of where we're going and how it's going to really impact the quality of life for our student athletes and those that have come behind you. So with that, I'm proud to be a Buff. And I'm really excited to be back here. It's a privilege for me to be in this role, to lead this department. We've got great people. I'm excited about where I'm going, where we're going. We need your support. We need your help. We need you former athletes to come back, because I think that's the leadership that we need in our program, is we need our former athletes to come back and support what we're doing. And it's real easy to do. You come back and you support us by being around practice, attending games, doing those kind of things, giving if you can, but introducing us to those that you think could be impactful in helping us with where we're going with our program. So congratulations to the inductees. Welcome to all of you. And this is going to be a special night, and I'm looking forward to it. Thanks.
Thank you, Rick. As you can tell, it's an exciting future for the Colorado Buffaloes. But I think it's been said that you never know where you're going unless you know where you've been. And that's what a Hall of Fame induction ceremony is all about. It's about meeting some of the building blocks, if you will, in the foundation of what is Colorado athletics. So are you guys ready to meet these Hall of Famers? Look how young they are behind me here, huh? They haven't aged a bit, by the way. When they come up here, we'll see that. Well, Tate kind of touched on this, but let me just touch on it again. All the inductees were nominated by their peers in the Alumni C Club, more by members of the selection committee. Over 60 names originally submitted were pared down to 29 finalists, then voted on by the 7-member selection committee to give us the 9 outstanding student athletes being inducted here tonight. I was going to say former Buffs, but you're never a former Buff. Once you're a Buff, you're always a Buff, right? It would take all night to list the accomplishments of these tremendous student athletes. I'm just going to hit on some of the highlights when we do the introductions here. And I do invite you, I know they've handed the program out, and that's got a much more detailed biography of each one of our men and women who will be inducted here tonight. So please take time to look at that and appreciate the great accomplishments for tonight's Hall of Famers. You ready? Should we do the first one? Let's do it. He's sitting down right in front of me here. Bob Beatty, the ski coach from 1957 to 1965. Bob was CU's head ski coach for 9 years, leading the Buffaloes to their first national championship in any sport when his 1959 team claimed the NCAA title. The team was inducted as a whole in the 2006 class and is the only team in the CU Hall of Fame. The team repeated as champions in 1960, also won 4 Rocky Mountain Intercollegiate Ski Association titles. Beatty coached some of the greatest skiers in school history, including Buddy Werner, Jimmy Huga, and Bill Marone. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome our first Hall of Famer tonight, Bob Beatty, ski coach here at CU from 1957 to 1965. We're going to give Coach a microphone down front here and allow him to say a few words to us tonight.
Thank you. This is really, truly an honor. The picture you see over here on the right, my right, was me at 23 years of age. I wish I were there now. That's when I started at CU. We were out here. I was the coach at Middlebury College for the NCAAs at Winter Park. And we were staying at the Sea Lazy U Ranch at the time. And the head of the owner called the president of CU and asked him to hire me. I didn't take the job because I wanted to be on the football staff. I had no place to go anyway, but they let me be on the football staff. And I was on the football staff for 6 years with Sonny Grandelius. And remember him? One of our brighter days. Fired with a 10-1 record. And my salary at the time, being the ski coach, running the entire intramural program, and on the football staff, was $4,800. I thought I was rich. And we had a great time winning 2 NCAA championships. We had a great relationship. My best friend at the time was Dal Ward, who saw to it that I didn't overstep my boundaries, which I did over and over. And 2 of the competitors on the Olympic team are here tonight. Will they stand up? Here, it's Billy Kidd, and Moose Barrows. We've been pretty close. Through the years, I counted up a few days ago. I didn't believe they were that many, but we had 18 competitors on the Olympics from CU. It was quite a few. It was harder to make the Olympic team than the CU ski team in those days. And we only had, and I don't mean this in disrespect for the University of Colorado these days, because Richard Rocos is a very close friend. He's done a tremendous job here. I respect him a lot. And he and his wife and the athletes that I've known are great people. They respect the sport, and they are great with athletics and the school. But we only had U.S. skiers. University of Denver, on the other hand, we hated. And it built college skiing because they were mostly Norwegians. And one time, the athletic director of both schools got the two coaches together and said, guys, you've got to slow down. You're in the paper all the time, and we just need to have a little slow down period. And we said, yes, of course. The next weekend, it was right off and running. We just were right at each other. But you know, that's what made college skiing. There's no such thing as slowing down. It was right back at it again. And if we had it to do all over again, I'm sure that we would be even worse knowing what we know today. And we had all kinds of different experiences. Lake Eldora wasn't even an event, a ski area at this time, and it is now progressing. I'm progressing too. And we had jumping in those days. And I saw fit to try to build a ski jump halfway up the canyon. And I hired some people to bulldoze what was going to be a ski jump. There was only one problem. We didn't have permission to bulldoze this place. And halfway through, we were told that we didn't have permission, and they shut us down. And if you take a look halfway up, you'll see the scar even now. So that was part of our legacy. It's not on our in our book, unfortunately. But at any rate, I could go on forever, because all of the young people that we had here at CU were deeply involved and were great friends. We were very deep in working out, and all the coaches in the other events came to watch to see if we were really doing what we were supposed to be doing, and they couldn't believe it. They thought we were crazy, and we were. And we also were good. And I am so proud of them. And I thank you very much. And $4,800 seemed a lot. And I would be back tomorrow if you paid me that. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach. Our next 2014 inductee into the CU Athletic Hall of Fame, Forrest B. Frosty Cox, basketball coach here at CU from 1935 to 1950. The winningest men's basketball coach in CU history in terms of percentage until recently. A guy named Tad Boyle has done a job to that number. Coaches, Tad, you're here, aren't you? Where's Tad at? He was here earlier. Coach, let's hear it for Tad Boyle, head coach of the CU men's team. Frosty Cox coached the Buffaloes to a 147-89 record, a .623 winning percentage in 13 seasons. He led Colorado to 3 NCAA tournament appearances, to a pair of NIT berths, the latter considered the more significant postseason tournament back in the day. CU was crowned the 1940 NIT champion. It was generally considered one of the premier programs in the West and for a good period of time in his tenure. And as an assistant football coach, so he did both as well, in 1937, he coached the backs, which included CU's first All-American, Byron Whizzer White. Frosty passed away in 1962 at the age of 54. Representing Coach Cox tonight is his son, Frosty Cox Jr., our newest Hall of Famer.
Thank you, Bob. It's a privilege to be able to represent Dad in this award ceremony. But first, I'd like to recognize some of the people who are here. My sister, Judy, and her husband, Dr. Roger West, from Bellevue, Washington. My wife, Nancy, and actually she's a Buffalo. My wife, Nancy, who's a Buffalo. My son, Corey, who is here in second-year law school. My son, Kurt, granddaughter, Erin, and granddaughter, Lauren, 2 of which are Buffs. We've got a lot of Buffs in our family still. We would like to thank the selection committee for choosing Dad to be inducted into the University of Colorado Sports Hall of Fame. This is a tremendous honor for him and our family. We are extremely proud of Dad's accomplishments during his 15 years as basketball coach here. I think the booklet does a good job of outlining those accomplishments. Dad was always an intense competitor and a disciplined and a perfectionist. He tried to install these traits in his players on and off the court. Some of his former players have commented that his philosophy gave them a solid foundation for success in later life. He was hard-nosed on the court, but very personable off-court. He had a great sense of humor, and he was a great dad. We thank you for this honor.
Congratulations to Frosty Cox. Our next Hall of Famer, Jim Davis, basketball, 1961 to 1964. A 3-year letterman under the legendary coach Sox Walseth. Jim earned first-team All-Big 8 honors his junior and senior seasons. The University of Colorado was 53-24 during his career, winning 2 Big 8 titles and earning 2 trips to the NCAA tournament. He averaged 14.4 points and 11.2 rebounds per game over the course of his career. He's one of the few players in school history to average a double-double, scoring and rebounding for a career, and did so in 2 separate seasons as well. At the time of his graduation, he was Colorado's all-time leading rebounder and 3rd-time all-time leading scorer. He was a 4th-round selection by the Detroit Pistons in the 1964 NBA draft, but the 27th player overall in a 9-team league at the time. He played 8 seasons in the NBA. Ladies and gentlemen, the Buffalo's newest Hall of Famer, Jim Davis.
First of all, I'd like to congratulate all of the inductees that are going in the 2014 class. I personally feel very, very honored to have this award bestowed upon me. I thank all of you for coming out this evening and sharing this with us. I hope that whatever happens, I will always be a Colorado Buffalo. I'm currently living in Canada right now, and it's just a great privilege to be able to travel back here because this became my second home. My friends, my teammates, my coaches, everyone, I thank you very much from the bottom of my heart for all that you've done to help me accomplish such goals. I thank my wife and my son is here this evening. He's accompanying me from Toronto, Canada. I'm privileged to have a son and a wife such as I do. They've always supported me. They've been behind me in every endeavor I've tried to undertake. I want to thank my roommates, Bill Harris, Wendell Phillips, for coming this evening. It's been a long time since we've been together, and I hope while I'm here, we're really going to enjoy ourselves, and particularly at the sink. You know, the first day when I got here, I spent that night in Willard Hall. I woke up the next morning to a bright sun shining on the Flatirons. And I said to myself, what the hell are you doing? You know you can't go home if you want to. Well, I'll tell you one thing. The university became my second home. I stayed out here for 4 years. The only time I left Boulder was during spring break. I stayed out here in the summer, I worked in the summer, and just enjoyed meeting a lot of different people, because I come from a little small town, Muncie, Indiana. We were famous for basketball, but being an agricultural small community, I never had the chance to travel to other places, meet other people. This gave me the opportunity. And one of the things that I really have admired about this university, and I spoke to one of my teammates tonight, Ken Charlton. We both came to a conclusion. Our team was good. We were good. And because we were good, why we were good was because we were a team. Everybody had a job to do. We all tried to do our job to the best of our ability. In closing, I want to kind of keep this short, but I want to thank each and every one of you. And I ask you to pray for me and my family. And I wish one thing, that we all are successful in whatever endeavors that we undertake. And let's go Buffs.
CU's newest Hall of Famer, Jim Davis. You know, he was giving a speech. He said he lived with Bill Harris. I don't think we should give him a trophy. We should give him a reward for that, surviving out over 2 or 3 years, huh? We kid because we love, right? All right, let's move on. Our next Hall of Famer Deion Figures, football, 1988 to 1992. Deion was a consensus first-team All-American as a senior in 1992 when he was the All-Big 8 and Conference's Defensive Player of the Year. He won the Jim Thorpe Award that season, presented to the nation's top defensive back. Now get this number right here. He allowed only 6 pass completions the entire season against him. He also had 6 interceptions that season. So he had as many picks as he allowed receptions to the opposing receivers. He deflected 12 balls that year. He was the Colorado Sports Hall of Fame Co-College Athlete of the Year in the state in 1992. He was second-team All-Big 8 as a junior in 1991 and an honorable mention choice as a true freshman in 1988 when he was the league's Defensive Newcomer of the Year. He was a first-round draft choice of the Pittsburgh Steelers in 1993 NFL Draft, 23rd overall, and played 6 years in the National Football League. The latest inductee of the CU Athletic Hall of Fame. Put your hands together for Deion Figures.
Whew. Just want to take this in. Enjoy the moment. Just to start things off, I'm not a big public speaker, but I'm here with loved ones. This is family. So I'm just going to speak from my heart. A lot of guys out here I play with, I see them, they laughing and giggling and trying to make me nervous. Well, I'm nervous. But I want to thank everybody for coming out. I'm glad to be here. I want to thank all the inductees. It's an honor and it's a pleasure to be inducted in the same class with each and every one of you guys. First and foremost, I want to thank my parents who's not here. My father died, well, my mother died in 95, my father died in 98. That's the reason why I'm here. I kind of strayed away growing up. My high school coach told me, you have a chance to go to college, you know, get a degree, you know, forget about football. But you can do both, football and get a degree. So I started to believe him. And I started concentrating on going to college. You know, I'm from Compton, California. My ex-roommate, Darian Hagan, is from Watts. And he just texted me 2 days ago. I can't tell you exactly what he said. But he said, can you believe it? You know, 2 young bleep from the streets of LA, you know, here in Colorado in the Hall of Fame. And something kind of clicked in me. And I just want to mainly I want to thank people, but I don't want to say names because I'm going to leave somebody out. And I just want y'all to know it's from the head and not the heart. So as the future inductees were saying their speech, I kind of jot down some notes. And I already thanked the inductees and my parents, and I want to thank the University of Colorado for even coming to Compton to even look at a young kid like me, 17, 18 years old, to even give me the opportunity. I want to thank Coach Mack for actually visiting my home. And I believe Rick George actually came with them. I know Coach Mack's not here, but hopefully somebody's videotaping this or recording it so he can hear that. And I want to thank Coach Greg Brown, my DB coach. I want to thank Coach Hank also, but Coach Hank was a linebacker coach, coaching defensive backs. And for the most part, we were linebackers. We weren't defensive backs. I mean, we were getting by on talent alone. But we won the national championship. So I want to thank Coach Brown for coming in. I worked under him for 2 years, and my play on the field just shot through the roof. I mean, we did things that defensive backs are supposed to do, and it's repetitious. The same thing over and over and over again. And we weren't used to this, but we started getting it because some of the things that we were doing in our drills kind of transferred over to the things that we were doing in the game. So it kind of made believers out of us. And I want to thank that man with all my heart, all my heart. He did a lot for me. I want to thank all my teammates every year that I played, especially the ones that's here now. Like I said, I don't want to name names, but Darian Hagan, Keith Ponderflett, James Thrill Hill, Dwayne Davis, Greg Thomas. Let me see who else I can pick out over here. Jay Hay, he thought I forgot him, I skipped over him. Julian Haywood. But really, I just want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. I'm honored. When I first heard about it, I thought somebody was calling me, joking with me. But it didn't set in until this morning. It's surreal. It's an honor. It's a privilege. I'm excited. I'm nervous. I mean, I'm everything all in one right now. But I feel loved, and I'm a Buff for life. And like Rick George said, I need to start coming up here more. So that's what I'll do, Rick. All right? And last but not least, I want to thank my family, my wife, my 3 kids. I love y'all dearly. Post-football, I wouldn't have made it without y'all. So, Daddy love y'all. Thank everybody for coming out. Go Buffs. God bless everybody.
The University of Colorado's newest Hall of Famer, Deion Figures. He said he was nervous. I thought he did a nice job, didn't he? Fantastic. Boy, and he roomed with Darian. The roommate stories are just getting worse and worse and worse as we go along here. Holy cow. Let's go ahead and meet our next Hall of Famer. Bob Jean Girard, basketball, 1952 to 1955. Bob was a member of CU's last Final Four team, generally considered the 2 in the Buffs' 1-2 punch with fellow Hall of Famer Bertie Halderson of the school's dominant early 50s teams under head coach H.B. Lee. He was a 2-time All-Big 7 Conference first-team selection, averaging 12.4 points and 6.1 rebounds per game during his collegiate career. As a senior, he averaged 16 points and nearly 7 rebounds per game, ranking second on the team in both categories, and helping Colorado win a then-record 19 games and reaching the national semifinals, falling to eventual champion San Francisco. He was the NCAA Tournament Regional Most Outstanding Player. He's represented tonight by his son, Bob Jean Girard Jr. Our newest Hall of Famer for the University of Colorado, Bob Jean Girard.
If my dad was up here accepting the award in this honor tonight, what he would talk about is he would talk about his teammates. He'd talk about everything that they did for him, everything, the stories he used to tell us were incredible about his teammates. It was all, everything about those teams in the early 50s were about teamwork and dedication. He also talked to you about this great college, the University of Colorado. And the stories he used to tell us, he would tell us about the magic that this university brought him and everything about it, the opportunity that this university gave my dad, and definitely am understanding it much clearer tonight. This has been something else. I would like to tell you a little bit about my dad. My dad grew up in the suburbs of Chicago, and it's kind of a tough time, and was actually a great baseball player for New Trier out of Winnetka. And my dad knew that there was, he always had a plan. And the plan was to, at the time, was, okay, use sports that he was good at, that he loved working at, to further everything for him down the road. So he came, anyway, his baseball and his basketball earned him some looks, and the University of Colorado took a chance on my dad, and he has always been incredibly happy for that. Out of Chicago, once he came to Colorado, they had the great team that you guys have heard about, and got to the Final Fours, lost to San Francisco in the Final Fours, but it was a fantastic team. He also went to the Olympics the next year. So in '56, he was in Melbourne on the Olympics. They won gold in Russia, and he was teamed up with Bill Russell, Casey Jones, and his friend Bertie Halderson, his longtime great friend from Colorado. After the '56 Olympics, he did go to the Pan Am Games, and they won a gold medal in the Pan Am Games, and and he teamed up there with Jerry West and Oscar Robertson. Were on that club, and then he went to the Air Force to serve his country, for a commitment, somewhere right in between them, and flew for the Air Force as a pilot. He moved to California, started a business, successful tire business, Girard Tires, in the Bay Area, and that's where they started a family. His high school sweetheart, my mom, Margie, they moved to California and started the Girard Tire company with his brothers, and that's where he was until he passed this July. About 9 years ago, I saw Jim Davis earlier and remembered that 9 years ago we came here and we hung his uniform got hung in the auditorium, and it was an incredible honor. But what I don't think anybody knew that was there 9 years ago is my father was a couple years into Alzheimer's, and that he was in the middle of a battle, but just like everything he did, he handled that battle just like he handled everything else, and he handled it with a fight, with dignity, and he, to the end, made people around him happy. He made the attendants at the home he was at happy. He made the residents put a smile on their face. That's just the kind of guy he was. He's a fantastic man, and he would be incredibly honored tonight. Tonight's honor is a reminder of teamwork and pushing yourself to higher levels. It's a reminder of accomplishments and doing the right thing. It's a tribute to a great teammate and an entire team of great players. At my dad's service that we had a quote. We put together a quote that we had seen, and it fits perfectly for my dad, and that was, God's gift to us is life. What we do with that life is our gift to God. And Bob Gingerard took gift giving to a new level. He was an incredible person. He would be incredibly honored tonight. Very humble, but thanking all the players, the university, and everybody. But he would thank you for this incredible honor, and our family does the same. Thank you very much.
Once again, our newest Hall of Famer, Bob Gene Gerard. Our next inductant goes to Lynn Long, wrestling for the University of Colorado, 1952 to 55 and 61 to 68. Lynn lettered 4 times in wrestling between 1952 and 1955. He returned as head coach of the team for 8 seasons. I hope you weren't thinking he had his education went that long over all those years. He came back as coach then between 1961 and 68. As an athlete, he placed second in the 130-pound weight class in the 1953, 1954, and 1955 Big Seven Conference Wrestling Championships. And as a senior, he was third in the NCAA Championships, garnering All-America honors in the process. His pinnacle moment as CU's coach came in 1964 when he led the Buffaloes to their best finish ever in the NCAA Championships. That was a tie for 4th place. 4 of his teams posted top 20 NCAA finishes. He coached arguably the other 2 top wrestlers in CU history, Dean Lahr and Bob Justice. A 2-sport performer, he also lettered 4 times in baseball for the Buffaloes. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome the Buffaloes' newest Hall of Fame inductee, Lynn Long.
Wrestling people, stand up. Sit down. Arnold, get on your feet. Up, Torg. That's my substitute history student's seat right there. He whipped me when I was a junior in high school in the state meet, became my fraternity brother, my workout partner, and I never let him forget it. Thanks, Arnold. I appreciate it. SIU Salukis, stand up. These guys had the pleasure of putting up with me after I left CU to coach wrestling at Southern Illinois University at Carbondale. Every wrestler I hoped would be an All-American. Some attained it and some didn't. But they all paid a price. I'd feel a lot better if I would have known that Dean Lahr was coming to the university because of Bev. I kept checking with the football people to see if he was going to come to school, but I didn't know Bev was in school here already and that he was coming. Another odd thing, Mickey DeRock was kind of shaken as to whether he was going to come to school. And lo and behold, Patty told me that she was offered an A in a health class at Northern Colorado if Mickey would go to Northern, but he ended up here, thank goodness. I kind of had a pipeline to Adams City. Jimmy, Mickey, Gil, can't remember them all, but Joe Gillis was the coach at Adams City, and he was one guy that wouldn't stab me in the back when I went down to recruit. And I appreciated that. The university gave me a platform of education that gave me a terrific life. In the summer of 1959, a home ec teacher in Iowa decided to come to the university to pursue a master's degree. She registered for a statistics class, and she liked to study in the library. That's my wife. We honeymooned at an amateur tournament in Oakland, California. Our children thought a family reunion or a family vacation was going to wrestling tournaments to scout prospects, wrestling clinics to participate, or wrestling camps to participate. And they thought, gee, that's really great. A beautiful family reunion at the Holiday Inn pool. But everything worked out pretty well. The wrestlers tried the best they could up to a point. Lemuel, where are you? Stand up, Lemuel. Where are you? Have you scouted out on me again? That's Butch Doherty. And he told me that I was a non-communicator. Jack Ford, when he accepted his Legends reward, called me a name that I agreed with, but I can't remember what he called me, and neither can he. Conard Metcalf called me persistent. That's without a doubt. Kenny Johnson won a national AAU freestyle championship. Stand up, Kenny. He's a Boulder High product, too. Tom Justice left CSU to come down here and stuck with me for several years as an assistant coach. I appreciate that, Tom. I appreciate all the wrestlers that contributed to this award. Without them, would not be here. Nicholas, get on your feet. This is a grandson. He got on me after being inducted at the Colorado Wrestling Hall of Fame for not introducing him by name. Tyler, up you come. Here's another one, and he could be a wrestler. Whitney, she's wrestled some too. Natalie, there's an age group national wrestling champion female. I only wish wrestling was alive. Go Buffs!
Let's hear it for our newest inductee of the Athletic Hall of Fame, Lynn Long. You kind of get the sense if you got into a scrap with Lynn right now, he'd still take you, wouldn't he? All right, let's meet our newest inductee. Don Myers, track and field, 1959 through 1962, and 1968 through 1975. A three-year letterman in track under legendary CU coach Frank Potts. Don would replace his mentor, in fact, as coach of the CU cross-country and track teams in 1968 when Potts retired after 41 seasons. As an athlete, Myers was a two-time NCAA outdoor champion, winning the long jump as a junior in 1961 and the pole vault as a senior in 1962. He was a four-time Big Eight Conference champion in the long jump, winning the indoor and outdoor versions in both 60 and 61. On December 20th of 1962, he became just the fifth person in history to clear 16 feet in the pole vault, as his 16-foot, 1 1/4 inch effort was then the unofficial world indoor record. At the time, they didn't keep indoor marks, but still, the best that had ever been done. Myers coached the Buffalo for 7 seasons, from 1968 to 1975, and under his direction, Colorado started on the road to becoming the cross-country powerhouse that it is today. The newest inductee into the CU Athletic Hall of Fame, ladies and gentlemen, Don Myers.
Thanks for that nice introduction. And a heartfelt thanks to Rick George, the selection committee, Tate, and all those who are responsible for this evening's event. It's truly an honor, and I'm very humbled to be inducted tonight into the CU Sports Hall of Fame. And I'm excited to share this experience with my family, with my good friends, with many of my athletes, some of whom are responsible for me being in front of you today. My coach, as was mentioned, was Frank Potts. He's a soft-spoken man of great character. He became more than a coach to me, became a mentor and a second father. His influence is very much with me today. The late Monty Smith, who was our great trainer in those years, told a story about Frank Potts that I'm going to share with you. One afternoon, Frank walked into the training room, and he had an arrow stuck in his chest. And we had a archery range close to the facilities at that point. An arrow got him. And he walked in and he said, "Monty, I've been shot. And Monty, can you help me?" And Monty sat him down and said, "Now, Coach, relax. Let me look at it." And it was really embedded. It was in his sternum. And Coach said, "Monty, I want you to pull that arrow out." Monty said, "I don't think so, Coach. I'm not qualified to do that." Coach looked at his watch and he said, "Monty, I want you to pull that arrow out. Track practice starts in 10 minutes, and I need to be there." As a track athlete, I had a partial scholarship, no full rides for track guys, probably wrestling guys back in those years. And I had a job, and my job was to sweep the basketball floor at halftime of the games. Dusty Balch Fieldhouse needed sweeping. And we had a big snowstorm that day, about an inch or about a foot and a half, so I borrowed some snow boots, clear up to my knees, multicolored, ugly snow boots. So at halftime, I got out there, I got my broom, and I started to sweep that floor. And I hear these voices, and it's my track buddies. "Hey, Myers, where'd you get those boots? Woo, woo." And, and I just kept going, and of course, they were persistent. The subject then went to my sweeping skills. And then the subject went to some personal things that I'm not going to mention tonight. I was petrified. Was in Coach's office the next morning. I said, Coach, we got to talk. I said, first of all, I want to tell you I'm really grateful to have a job because I wouldn't be here without that. However, and I told him the story, and he smiled and he said, yeah, I was in the stands. He said, I heard some of that. He said, you did really good. He said, I knew you were dying, but nobody else did. Everybody else thought you were oblivious to all of that. During my tenure as track coach, I was fortunate to have some great assistant coaches, some wonderful athletes, a lot of them sitting here tonight. And the late Jerry Quiller was our cross-country coach at that time. And I want to acknowledge him tonight in really being instrumental in the success we had in the track program. We've got a couple of his outstanding athletes, John Gregorio, Mike Peterson are in the crowd. And we had a sprint coach by the name of Rich Castro, who I think probably had the best job in the country, not because he had a big salary, but because he had some incredible athletes under him. We had a practice meet before the indoor season started. We set up for the 60-yard dash. And Heat 1, we've got Cliff Branch, who you all know as one of the great CU football players, all-pro many times with the Oakland Raiders. And I've been told has a jewelry box that movie stars would envy because they're full of Super Bowl rings. He's got 3 of them, matter of fact. And next to him was George Daniels from Ghana, West Africa. And at that time, the world record in a 60-yard dash was 5.9. Gun goes off, dead heat, 5.9, both of them, 5.9. Second heat, we've got Marcus Walker, who was one of the most incredible athletes that I've ever been around. He was the NC2A indoor high hurdle champion, NC2A outdoor high hurdle champion. And next to him, we had Larry Brunson, a great CU football player who was on the Chiefs and the Broncos team. They ran 5.96 flat. And Rich and I are looking at each other and thinking, man, we're going to have an incredible relay team outside. Well, unfortunately, it was not to be. We had a lot of injuries. You know, we just couldn't get that group together, but we still had an incredible season. And there's so many more athletes who are here that I'd like to mention, but I think my time's up. So in closing, I want to say that it's been a pleasure being here tonight. It's an evening I will never forget, and this is an honor I will cherish forever. Thank you.
Our newest Hall of Famer, Don Myers. And who knew we would come here tonight and solve the mystery as to why Colorado dropped archery, because we nearly killed Frank Potts. Holy cow. Man, oh man, what a harrowing story. All right, our next inductee here tonight. Herb Orvis, football, 1969 to 1971. A member of CU's All-Century football team selected in 1989. Herb was a near-consensus All-American as a senior in 1971 and a 2-time first-team All-Big 8 Conference performer. The Big 8 Conference Newcomer of the Year as a sophomore in 1969. He was also selected to the All-Big 8 Decade team for the 1970s. He played as significant a role as anyone in CU's 1971 season that saw the Buffaloes finish number 3 in the nation, just behind Nebraska and Oklahoma, all 3 from the same conference. A first-round draft pick by Detroit in the 1972 NFL Draft, 16th overall, the highest at that time by a CU defender had ever been selected. He went on to enjoy a 10-year pro career. Ladies and gentlemen, the newest inductee into the CU Athletic Hall of Fame, Herb Orvis.
take a few moments to introduce my family. They're all Orvises. My brother and his wife, my oldest son Gabe and Jennifer, and my youngest son Wilson and his wife Sarah. They all have offspring. They know I love them very much. I'm happy for you to be here. Now, if I can get past my nervousness here, I'd like to say a few words. That guy in that uniform there, when that uniform was put on, it was all business. And never pretended to be a ball player. I tried to be the best that CU could offer, and I had a lot of help. Number one coach was Dan Stavely, wonderful man, Christian, and he put the pagan out of my mind and kind of calmed me down a bit. He was a wonderful influence on my life. My agent, Jack Mills, guided me through a 10-year pro career. Now, if I can find page 1. It is great pride that I accept this distinguished honor, and I'd like to thank those that were involved, the selection committee in the process to gain this award. It's very nice and very complimentary, but it belongs to a number of teammates, and I miss them, and when I do get a chance to see them, it's a wonderful thing. I've been a lion, I've been a bear, believe it or not. I've been a colt, but being a buffalo was my greatest accomplishment, something I'll always treasure. And to finish up, I would like to give a special thanks to the family, friends, and my great neighbors at HEB, Heritage Eagle Bend. We're bocce rules. We're a little bit older now, and this white-haired white buffalo wants to get up here with these guys and romp and stomp and always try to impress somebody walking by. And I'll give you a great smile and tell you I love this. It's the greatest thing that happened. And one of these days I'm going to marry this lovely woman, Mary Lou Traynor. But this is the happiest moment right now, is being here. Thank you. Don't get this close to a buffalo. All right.
A couple of the official ones here.
Put some film in it. Thanks again.
The newest inductee into the Athletic Hall of Fame, Herb Orvis. Now, if you look up at all the photos up there, one inductee tonight is different than the rest. And you may be saying, Mark, if you were a gentleman, you would have gone ladies first. But oh, you're wrong. We decided to keep the best for last. So let's meet our final inductee here tonight. But when she was here at the University of Colorado, you would have known her as Yvonne Scott. Now she's Yvonne Scott Wade, the most decorated women's hurdler in CU track history. Yvonne still owns several school records and garnered All-American honors in both indoor and outdoor competition. She won 3 straight Big 8 outdoor titles in the 100-meter hurdles from 1994 to 1996, helping CU to the conference title as a senior, the last Big 8 outdoor meet prior to the Big 12 being formed. She was also a 2-time Olympian, competing for Japan in the 100-meter hurdles in 1996 and 2000. She reached the semis in Sydney in 2000. She is currently the head track coach at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. Our final inductee tonight into the Athletic Hall of Fame here at the University of Colorado. Please put your hands together for Yvonne Scott Wade.
first thank the planning committee for allowing me to go last, because my husband always tells me I always get the last word, and thanks for driving that home with him. So I appreciate that. First, it is such an honor to be here amongst all these great Buffaloes. I haven't been back to Colorado in some time, or to Boulder in some time, and it's so great to see so familiar faces and to see all the improvements that have gone on this campus. And it's just a great feeling, and I'm proud, so very proud to be a Buff. One of the very best memories I have being a CU Buff was that story right there in 1996, winning the very last Big 8 championship with my team at Nebraska on the Husker home turf. They had won 16 years straight, and to be a part of such a great team that year and winning the championship was just the most priceless memory that I have here. And a lot of good memories. A lot of you guys that are in the audience are part of those memories, but that is definitely by far the best. I want to thank the, I'm sorry, I have my notes in front of me. The committee members for the nomination. I want to thank the other inductees for being part of this history and allowing me to be a part of it with you. I'd like to thank the athletic director, Rick George, for his vision and continuing success for the Buffaloes. Every time I get these newsletters in the mail and emails, I'm so proud. I was telling him earlier, I take all of them to my AD and comparing. And so it makes me very proud to come here and see all the growth that's happened here thus far. I want to thank my mother, who's here tonight, Tamako. She has taught me so much. She's a hard worker. She's taught me to work hard for everything I want and never to give up. Thank my brother, who's also an Olympian himself. He's a Paralympian silver medalist, Lincoln. Thank you. I want to thank my coaches, Mike Gilbert and the late Jerry Quiller, for believing in me and taking a girl from California and convincing her to come and run in the snow. Not very easy, but the best choice of my life. My coach, Yolanda Hall, she is the epitome of coaches. She taught me how to be a competitor, and she's a big part of why I do what I do today. Like I said earlier, I am a coach, and a lot of what I do is because of her. I look to her as a mentor, a big sister, and doing the things that I do now, I always keep her in the back of my mind. All the yelling and the screaming that she did at me when I was running and training, always sticks with me, and I really appreciate that, and I love her for that. Definitely, I take heart to all that she's done for me, so thank you, Yolanda. I want to thank my children who are back in Las Vegas right now, getting ready to drive my parents crazy, their grandparents crazy to go trick-or-treating. They're the joy of my life and everything that I do. But now, last but not least, I want to thank my partner in crime, my husband, Larry Wade. I had the joy of coaching next to him at Las Vegas, and he makes me a better coach, a better wife, a better mother, and I'm so blessed to have him in my corner. And he said that when I bring one of these Buffaloes home, that he's going to make a space on his shelf in his man cave. So, babe, get to reorganizing, because we're putting it up there. So thank you, and God bless.
Our final inductee into the Hall of Fame, Yvonne Scott Wade. Well, what do you think? That was quite a class, isn't it? How about a collective round of applause for all of our Hall of Famers here tonight? Let me just say, in closing here tonight, to our lady and our gentleman, thank you. Thank you. In 2014, as we stand here tonight, and we've got an exciting future here at the University of Colorado in the athletic department, this institution, it's built on your efforts, your performances, your integrity, all that you gave to this institution. So thank you once again for being Hall of Famers here tonight, all right? Lastly, we got a football game this weekend, and I know every year with the induction class, it's on you guys that the Buffs win on Saturday. I hope you know that. So the magic that you guys have had is what we're counting on Saturday to help Coach McIntyre and his football team. So once again, thank you all for being here. Thank you for coming out and supporting our Hall of Famers tonight and being part of this special evening here at the University of Colorado. We'll see you on Saturday at Folsom Field. Go Buffs. God bless. Have a great night.